Greetings, folks, and welcome to Channel Other Doc. I'm Jim. I use he, him pronouns, and today we are playing a game I've written called Hidden Qualities. This is a story game where the players are people who work together in space and the game explores what happens to their personalities and their relationships as a result. I just want to give a shout out to the folks up on the International Space Station right now who are in this situation. And are apparently going to be coming home amid some wonderful, wonderful things happening on Earth in about a week and a half. So best of luck to them also. Let's go ahead, and we don't have characters yet or anything, and so I guess we'll just go around, say hi, and say anything you like about yourself. that you would like the audience to overhear. I'm just gonna go. I guess I'll do clockwise, and I will start with Alyx. Hello.
Hello. My name is Alyx Wolf. My pronouns are they, them. And I suppose folks could know I am a massive introvert with a pretty severe anxiety disorder, so being isolated and quarantined is one of the best things that could have happened to me for my mental health. That said, I do hope that folks are doing well, and those who are struggling with this just know this will end. This will end, won't it? But yes, I am actually living my best life right now. I am so happy to be at home behind a webcam every day.
Well, that's good. Yeah, and my understanding is that it's not necessarily. I mean, there are plenty of. I've seen also posts from plenty of introverts who need to get out because they have stuff. But I think for the folks that it works for, it's kind of nice. It's like, okay, so this is. Yeah, well, I'm going to be doing what I was doing anyway, so I can totally understand. But let's go ahead and go around to Ulfrigg. Hello.
Hello, I go by Ulfrigg online. I use she and they pronouns, and something that I would like people to know about me, I'm not sure. I'm just really, really excited to be playing a sci-fi game today because sci-fi is like the best thing ever.
Yay!
Yeah, that'll do.
Very cool, very cool. And over to Rrok. Hello.
Hey, Jim. So I'm Rrok, he, him pronouns. Glad to be back here once again playing games with people on the channel. And as far as anything for me is concerned, I'm just, I'm a huge nerd. Whatever. Doesn't matter what it is, I'll geek out on it.
Excellent. Good. Very cool, very cool. Yeah, like we do with most games on this channel, and this is particularly important, I think, in the case of this game, because I'm realizing also that at this time when we have a lot of folks who are in close quarters with each other for some time, not only up in space, but down here for families and such, and roommates, what have you, that we need to kind of watch ourselves. So like we do with most games on this channel, we are going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. So if we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make an X symbol, and we'll back up and do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat, and we'll fade to black on it or put it behind a veil so it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let folks know that we're okay and that we're good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think, maybe that might have been a little too much. Then everyone else can respond to that again with an X, an N, or an O to let us know if we're still doing okay. Also, my apologies to anyone who can hear my washing machine right now, as there was a timing issue, sadly, and now is the time. And then I am bolstered, at least morally, by the thought that by the time this game is done, my pants will be dry. All right, so.
I'm sorry, Jim, but that starts to beg the question. We are only seeing you from the neck up.
Right now,
is today laundry day?
Right now, I'm wearing Schrodinger's pants. No, actually.
I'm sorry, so I need that on a t-shirt. That's the most beautiful statement.
Just to alleviate, Sorry. Just to alleviate anyone's concerns, I am actually wearing pants right now, so no need to worry about it. But, it's the ones that I usually wear are in there. I'm wearing the emergency pants today. Anyway.
Depending on how this game goes, I think we'll all be wearing emergency pants.
It's entirely possible. So.
All pants are emergency pants. I'm sorry, Jim.
That's
so
fair.
Sorry.
I mean, that's fair. One needs to be certain. One needs to be absolutely certain. But anyhow, now that we've done that, whatever that was, let's see. What is this game about? Who wrote this thing? Okay. So this is I've never actually, so this will be the first time I've seen that. This is not the first playtest of this game, strangely enough. The strange part is I was not the person who did the previous playtest. They actually ran this, and I was both shocked and very pleased to see that they a couple of folks run this once for a campaign that they had going on that was in their characters were in space, and they figured, okay, well let's do this for a little bit. It was very cool. And approximately, yeah, we'll just see how this goes. But in this game, you play as a crew on a space mission. You will all be together in a confined space for a prolonged period of time. What compromises will you have to make to be able to work together and get along? How much will you allow yourself to be shaped by others' expectations of you? Will you be the same person at the end of the mission that you were when you started? And these are all the sorts of things that we wonder about as we play this. So, to begin, we have to define the mission. We collectively decide the nature of the mission that we're on, including its location and its objectives. And, I give a few examples in there as to whether or not we're repairing a satellite, we're going to Jupiter, we're founding a colony in another solar system. It can be, we can play fast and loose with when this is, for our purposes. So what do we think? What sort of mission are we on?
I like the idea of it being a fairly long-term space mission.
So do we want to do this where it's like a kind of a near future thing where it's just we're like first manned mission to a planet, or do we want to do a thing that's further out, like it's, we're in a generation ship or something like that? Actually, that's probably too big.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of I always like that idea of a generation ship. Like maybe we're a second generation. Like we're not the first that left, but it's going to take 2 generations to get wherever we're going.
I like the idea to an extent. Just the one thing that I think I'd modify on that is that it's like most everyone. On the one hand, see, the generation ship implies that it's big enough to have an entire society on it, and this is really more about isolation. So I could see being a thing where it's like we are the only crew who are awake for a long period of time.
What about a survey crew that has been dispatched from a generation ship? Like if the idea of a generation ship that hops across the universe, and when it stops in a particular area, say to recharge its drives, perhaps it sends out like a survey team to see if there's any kind of life-sustaining planets in the area.
And so I like the idea that they actually do send out like survey ships as they're going kind of ahead of them to see if they can even while they're still moving, because I'm kind of imagining for that kind of ship it's probably a little more slowly moving. So it's like, okay, well we have to go ahead and figure out if this is going to be a viable planet for us to stop at or not. And it'll take us a while to get there.
And the goal of the game is a bit of isolation, right? So confined space for a prolonged period of time. Mm-hmm. So maybe when they send out this survey crew, maybe we are gone for years. We just transmit information back.
Yeah, I think that's. I think that works because it's it's like, okay, Because given that it's the length of the lifespan of the ship itself, the surveys, even just a few years is just the blink of an eye, really. So that works for me. That's cool. So we've kind of defined what the mission is, and we can sort of build onto that as we go. We can decide, like what the name of the planet is we're headed to, or whatever, what we've named the planet we're headed to, that kind of deal, and just sort of expand on that. So we should talk about the kind of ship that we have and the name of the ship. Well, let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, something else that I skipped, because of course I did, is that about the mission is that we can each name a detail about the mission and then discuss it further if more information is needed. I think we've kind of sort of done that as is, but are there any other, if we would like to go around and like add one more, like here is a fact that is true, we can go ahead and do that. So that way we can add flavor. So I guess we'll just keep going around the same order. If folks are ready, unless it's like who has one ready. But Alyx, do you have a fact you want to add?
Sure. We are expendable, and not in a bad way. It's like we've signed up for this.
Yeah.
It's a great honor to survey the planets and see if they're habitable. But if they're not, there's a good chance we won't be able to get back. So
Yeah.
for us, this could be the end of our journey. But if we find a habitable planet, then it'll be an amazing thing for the generation ship.
Yeah. So this is one way, unless the planet we hit happens to be the right one. Oh my God. Well, there it is. Ulfrigg, do you have a fact you want to say about the mission?
I am completely blanking. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We can come back to you. Or we, let's go on to Rrok real quick. Do you have a fact you want to say about the mission?
No, actually, I'm kind of happy with the way it's formatted as.
Yeah, we kind of already sort of threw a lot together. So if you don't want to add another, it's totally cool if you don't want to add another detail right now. That's fine. I think that as for myself, as far as adding a detail goes, I think that maybe, I feel like I should add something about the planet that we're headed toward. Yeah. I think that probably it had to be, I think the thing I'm just going to say, just to make it easier, is that we know that this planet has land and oceans, and a breathable atmosphere. And that's what we know so far about it. And so it is at least that Earth-like enough. Earth-like now being a relative term, we're not sure if we even know what Earth is anymore, but it's close enough. Okay, so the ship itself, we can sort of now again collectively decide on the ship we have, what the ship is called, and we can each also name a detail about the ship, and we can discuss it a bit further if we need to. Do we have any ideas about, I'm just going to throw this out generally, do we have any ideas about the ship itself?
How hard or soft sci-fi is this? Because I have lots of ideas.
This is a good question, because it's whatever we want it to be. So I'm fairly open to either approach, as long as it takes a while for us to do whatever we're doing. I'd say the only thing is, not to say that it has a drive that'll get us there like that. And to an extent, I should also say it's like, we could even extend the narrative of this onto the planet itself if we wanted to, because we're still going to be kind of there confined, but it just sort of depends on how it goes. So it's pretty open. We get to decide that right now.
I kind of like the idea, though, of the capstone being we eventually land and we don't know what happens next. Something kind of poetic about that.
That could be cool.
I don't know. I mean, for a name, I guess something like Wayfinder or Pathfinder. I mean, I know that's kind of cliche, but
Let me do something real quick. Wayfinder, I mean, in and of itself is decent enough. I know it's been used in other thingies.
Vanguard,
I like
the one that goes out in front.
Vanguard's good. I think I even played that game once or twice now. Do we like Vanguard? Is Vanguard okay?
I like the word vanguard, but I kind of like the idea of us being the vanguards. Maybe that's the name of our unit.
Okay. So it's like the Vanguard unit.
Yeah. I will admit I have a bit of a bias toward like I kind of like the idea of like Finder or something as part of the name. I feel like whoever would name a starship for something like this might, name it something like, yeah, kind of cliche, but also like probably meant it in a really heartfelt way.
Well, if we want to get really nostalgic, we could call it the Viewfinder.
oh god, wow.
I'm not going to say no.
Acquire a spotter, search party, discoverer, appropriator. No, that's wrong.
Let's see.
What
Or a
about
founder.
Pioneer?
Pioneer's good.
Pioneer's good.
I'm literally just on thesaurus.com looking up
Me
synonyms
too.
for Vanguard
I was just
or
looking
Guide or
up
something.
the names of the Mars rovers.
Oh.
They've been named Sojourner, Spirit, Opportunity, and Curiosity.
And
And the
ours
next
is-
one going out is called Perseverance.
By the time they get to us, it's just titled Pragmatism.
Oh.
I like Pioneer. Do we want to go with that, or?
Yeah, I like Pioneer. I'm cool with that. What do you think, Vok?
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with it.
Okay. All right. Cool. Does anyone have any other details they want to throw in about this ship?
I like the idea that it somehow has artificial gravity, so I don't know if that's thrust powered by its constantly accelerating or decelerating, or if that's spin powered and like therefore would just be in certain sections of the ship.
Works for me.
But one of those two.
I like the idea.
What about the idea of limited resources with the consideration that, a generation ship, as it's sending out probes, it can't necessarily, afford to provide full, bountiful provisions on survey units.
Yeah.
So, as we are being sent out, we're being sent out with minimal supplies to last the journey. Maybe like a few days extra, just as, in case something happens. But generally speaking, the supplies on a probe ship or a survey ship are limited.
Yeah. It's good. I like it. Okay. Yeah. And I actually can't think of anything to add to that right now, so I think that we're probably good. And we can build onto it as we go. But it's at least enough for us to kind of get started. Okay, now. So, characters. We must name our characters, and choose our roles on the mission. And I've got 5 roles listed there. We can deviate from that if need be. The roles are commander, scientist, engineer, navigator, and medic. And like I said, you can make one up if you don't have one that's there. So, do we know what we want to call our characters?
I feel like Alyx has an idea and is just holding it back between those. No? Okay.
No, Alyx was just thinking, this is really good music for this game. That was my brain going, ooh, I like this sound.
I like
Thank
the
you,
idea of
Tabletop
playing-
Audio.
Nice. I like the idea of playing the scientist character, perhaps with a focus in like botany and environmental systems.
Cool. I like it.
I don't have a name for them yet, though. But yeah, something that would be useful on ship, but then also once landing
Yeah.
is kind of what I'm thinking with that.
Cool. I'm just now searching through, and I've decided I'm going to go with a French name for whatever reason.
Does anybody want the navigator job, or?
I was thinking medic for myself, so.
Nice.
Cool. Do. Means that I am either playing the commander or the engineer. And it could be, this could be like one of those things where it's not clear, where different people are in charge of different things, basically. So I could go ahead and take engineer, and then we'll see kind of if we...
Right.
Or maybe there's like an AI that's the commander.
That's cool.
A legally distinct, not Hal.
A legally distinct non-Hal. Yeah. No, had Hal been the commander of that mission, there would have been so many more problems. Or maybe not. Maybe that was Hal's point.
Hal is a very efficient AI.
Yes.
Hmm.
So I think I'm going to go with... Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'm going to go with Mark Guillaume. And they will be he, him. Let me see if I can adjust the
Just taking a look at something real quick here.
alignment on that so that it's centered. There we go.
Oh wow, yeah, okay. That works out.
Yeah, that'll work.
Sorry,
hear you
Jim. I'm gonna
muttering.
have to.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to lean into the brand just a little bit here.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Amazing.
Of course.
So-
Of course.
So are we the only ones who can see the Zoom chat? Because then no one has any idea why we're giggling, and that makes it even better.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
That
No
is
one
correct.
knows.
You know, I realized we just got very quiet and started communicating via
Yes.
chat.
Yes, we're communicating. We're communicating telepathically. I think that's what he's doing. Yeah. As far as
Well,
that
apparently
goes.
now our characters are telepathic.
Apparently.
I was gonna say canon.
Done.
for the next 3 hours, we're not going to say a word. We're just going to.
Yeah.
It's just going to be assumed that you know what we all know what we're saying.
People are gonna come into the show and think we're playing a game of men who stare at goats.
In a way.
You know, I would play that game. I would.
Yeah, that would be kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just need to find someone with a goat that can, you know, get them to use Zoom.
I mean, Stranger Things.
I have a farm that is about a quarter of a mile away. I mean, I don't have it.
Do
but
not
there
tempt
is
us. Do not tempt us with this.
As long as you maintain 6 feet of distance between yourself and that goat.
Yeah, I mean that's the
Good.
important thing. Oh my god.
one. Careful, that's the internet. That may have nothing to do with the virus.
Yeah. One knows. Who knows? Who knows with these things? All right.
I have often joked about being able to solve latency problems. If we need 2 goats and a chicken.
Rrok, what's your character's pronouns?
We'll go with he, him. Just
Gotcha.
keep things simple for right now.
You also make sure I centered that. I did not. There we go. Okay, that goes there. I'm just doing first names at this point right now, just because of the.
Okay.
Oh, you're doing the production screen, right?
I am. Yes, there's a reason why I haven't said anything else for a moment, and that's because I'm typing things in.
So this is all, I never watch myself when I'm on a stream because I can't have Twitch and the Zoom chat open at the same time, just my brain can't.
Yeah.
So I always forget that there's this other view that everyone is seeing that has
Right.
all of our
There are
beautiful
people.
names and intro screens in it.
Okay, and there we go. Okay. So we now have our characters' names and their various roles. And now that we have that, the time has come to get your qualities down, and I've set that up spaces for that in the Roll20 for us to put them down. And these are, so we each have 1 visible quality and 3 hidden qualities. By the end of the game, each character will have 4 visible qualities and no hidden qualities. And it's up to you whether the qualities you make visible will be your hidden qualities, or if you're going to abandon those parts of yourself as time goes on and take on new traits as you try to get in sync with the rest of the crew. So qualities can be pretty much anything that helps define your identity. So they can be personality traits like funny, greedy, calculating. They can be activity-based things like gymnast, video gamer, or lover of learning. Or they can be defining moments from your past, like played in a rock band, recently divorced, or attended private school, that kind of thing. You name your one starting visible quality, which is something about you everyone already knows going into the mission. And then after that, you will name... You can name 3 hidden qualities, and they're in... I've put them in tiers. That's the new thing I want to test out. Which you'll have your minor, your major, and your most hidden. Which, minor is something you don't necessarily advertise about yourself, but which someone could discover about you without too much trouble. A major hidden quality is something only people who are close to you would know about. Your most hidden quality is something about yourself you almost never talk about and keep secret from the rest of the world. And these are things that we can, and actually should know as players about each other's characters. But as far as the characters don't know these things about each other. That's not visible. And that's basically how the thing works. So I would recommend, as we're typing these things into these boxes that I have provided, I recommend kind of going with at least a 16-point font, but it's whatever you want to do with it. And it has begun already, but yes, you can see what I'm talking about. Just sort of figure out things about your character that you would like to explore over the curse of this, over the curse of your skirm.
Over the curse?
Oh yes, over the curse that is this game. We're basically going to either be moving the things from the hidden qualities to visible qualities, or we're going to be striking them out and writing new visible qualities, basically. Let's see. And I will say, as part of what we're as we're looking into this and starting to type things in, again, you can feel free in Roll20, you just drift over to the left, and the bar on the left-hand side it's like the third thing down, where I think by default they put a square there, but then you can change that to text, and then you can type in whatever you need to type in for anyone. So we should come up with these things. I'll also say, as part of when I sort of put this together, this is I'm kind of smashing together elements from the games Life on Mars and Post-Human Pathways. Those are like the 2 biggest influences on this in particular. Let's see, I think I'm going to have... So I've got a visible quality of always fiddling with something. And I think a minor quality is... I think he collects something. It needs to be something that I can actually talk about with a tiny degree of knowledge. Which is kind of the issue. Here we go. Either I or Google can talk about with So he collects historical photos as a minor thing. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Oh yeah, and this is a generation ship, so this is I have to think. We have to remember that as we're typing these in when we're talking about the things.
Oh, I remembered that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry. It's very rare I get to do that. I do that on a work call, and people look at me like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, what? I just wanted to laugh deeply and for an uncomfortably long amount of time.
Let's see. Yeah. Oh, this should be interesting. Ooh, I'm liking these. I'm liking these a lot.
Are you talking to an animal or a child? I've seen my sister make both faces at her cat and child.
It's a computer, so child?
Child, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go. See, what I didn't realize, even as I was making this, that this is one of those ideal games for me because I can create characters with lots and lots of regret.
Oh no. I'm getting the feeling
like
my
you and
character is the youngest on the crew, probably.
And possibly the smartest.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, I'll go ahead and start going over mine since we've got a couple of us are done. Mark is always fiddling with something, can be seen to be doing that. That's his visible quality. His minor hidden quality is he collects historical photos. His major hidden quality is that he has designed weapons in the past. And his most hidden quality is he is a former anti-planetary faction. So these are sort of, I'm imagining a rebellious faction back on the Generation ship that that decided we should just live here forever and find new purpose and stop seeking out some planet we want to live on because this is much better. Or something to that effect. They thought they were seeking some type of inner knowledge, I think. And he is no longer part of that.
Jim, remind me, is your character the engineer?
Yes. I should probably, in fact, now that I'm thinking about it, and the question has come up, yeah, I actually, for anyone wondering, I put this together for the Ad Astra Game Jam, so there is currently a version of it that's available for folks who desire it. I shall place the link here. That is not the version we are playing entirely. It's close, but the thing that we are playtesting is the different tiers of hidden qualities, basically, so that's the different thing. Okay, do we have we got everything that we want to go into detail? Alyx, do you want to talk about your character a little bit?
Sure. My character is Dikra, they, them, the medic. Dikra's visible quality is scars, which is very strange for someone on a Generation ship. Dikra hasn't talked about it, but it's very obvious. Hidden qualities, minor. I was dishonorably discharged from the military. that there was some sort of military branch is one of those things that is kind of taught in terms of like a history context on the ship. But in theory, there shouldn't be anyone who served in the military. So it's strange that I even exist.
Interesting.
Major hidden quality, I like soft things. Soft blankets, soft clothes, soft sweaters. I like soft and squishy things. But I am extremely embarrassed by this. My most hidden quality is I am a clone. I was part of a series of experiments where they were trying to see if instead of a more traditional, what was considered at that time traditional way of continuing the population, perhaps they could create longevity by cloning individuals. But it was abandoned as being too costly and too much of a wild card to predict how we would turn out. And there are a few of us who still exist on the Generation ship because we are useful. We can do things, and why would you throw something out when it can still go to space and repair stuff?
I can already see potential drama. Okay, let's go down back over to Ulfrigg. Tell us about your character.
Yeah, so my character's name is Zayla, and she also uses she, they pronouns. They are visibly very bubbly. Like, I'm thinking of going to, like, Princess Glimmer in the new She-Ra levels of bubbly.
Oh, nice.
Their minor hidden quality is that they are actually a total know-it-all. So, again, very Hermione Granger almost in terms of, like,
awesome.
look, I know all the things, okay? Their major hidden quality is that they are actually rigidly self-disciplined. So they might look fairly go easy because of the bubbliness, but things must be a certain way. And their most hidden quality, they're probably the youngest. I'm gonna say they were definitely born on the Generation ship. They have never been in a big open space and are kind of afraid of that experience, and in fact don't even really like looking out the windows of this spaceship. So they are agoraphobic.
Oh, man. Okay. Nice. Excellent. And over to Rrok. Tell us about Horace.
Okay. So Horace is the navigator, and he seems outward very deliberate and assured in the things that he does. But in reality, he has problems with his confidence. That's kind of like his major thing, is that he lacks confidence. And he seems, because of his assuredness, is a bit, more off-putting. One of the things is that he wants to be more social. He's just not really sure how. And then another part that feeds into his kind of aloofness, I guess is the way to describe it, is the fact that he's plagued by nightmares. So a lot of the times he seems kind of short-tempered or just edgy, and it's more because of the fact that he doesn't sleep very well. So he's always tired.
Nice. Okay. So we've got these down. And so again, as this is also a playtest, I have no idea if we'll be able to get through all 3 rounds, but we'll see what happens. For character introductions and assessments is how we start this out. So we take turns describing our characters with each other. We kind of just did that. Your character has just gone through a phase of training and mission prep with your crewmates. Now you will have the opportunity to tell Mission Control your first impressions of them. So each character gives their quick initial assessment of each other character, answering these questions. What do you like best about this fellow crew member? And what are you most looking forward to doing on the mission with this crewmate? So basically, this is us in our little private areas sending back information about just our impressions of our fellow crewmates. And right now this is mostly just based on what we know, which is the visible qualities. Who would like to start?
Someone
So
touched their
just
nose.
Shall
What
I
does that
start?
mean?
Just
Shall I
just to
start?
make sure that I understand your intent on this,
Yes.
are these are like supposed to be the, you said these are supposed to be like reports being sent back. So are these like, reality show confessional kind of things,
They
or
totally can be. They could be like captain's logs. They could be like, or they could be like reality show conventional things, depending on how we want to set it up. Pretty much, they could be any number of things. But it's like they kind of, the idea is that whoever your mission control is, they have our mission control is, they've sort of assigned us to continuously evaluate our fellow crew members as the mission goes on. And so this sort of helps, I think, to sort of cement what everyone's impressions are at first, and then we can play into that if we wish to, as we get further in. Do you want me to go to start just by way of example? Will that help?
yeah, why don't we do that?
Okay, I'll do that.
Go for it, Jim.
No problem. Okay. Okay. So, I think basically we just sort of see him. We see Mark in his quarters. He's making a record of things. He's saying, "All right, personal log of Mark Guillaume, engineer on the Pioneer Vanguard unit. As part of required of these assessments for just submitting info on my fellow crew members, Dekra, Zayla, and Horace. Dekra seems very capable. Seems to be they seem to be just very much about the kind, just very, very businesslike right now at first, seems, but thus far in our initial training, seems to know very much what they're doing as far as being a medic goes, so that's good. It seems like they've seen action before, so that's also good. I think, as someone who's had experience, is I think going to be much needed when we go and we look in on this planet. As for Zayla, I think that she seems very excited to get started on this, which I think is great. I think it's going to come as something of a shock when we're not there immediately. This is going to take some time. But she's very excited to get to the planet itself, and I guess that's understandable. Who wouldn't be? This is someone who's been pretty much just aboard our the main ship, for as long as she can remember. But that's all of us. It's nice to see. It is, I think, nice to see the energy of youth for this for a mission like this, and hopefully that'll be kind of what we need to keep us from losing our minds, I guess. Horace. I haven't actually had a chance much to talk at length with Horace yet, but he seems very... things kind of need to be in a certain place, and I can respect that, because he does very good work. As he knows pretty much where everything is, where the positions of all the star systems. So I am looking forward to getting to know him a bit better. But he seems at all times. I have not yet seen him sweat over anything. So I am interested to just see sort of how things hold up and sort of figure out how things go. That's Guillaume out. And that's his report. So who would like to go next?
I'll go next. That's okay with folks. Okay, so Dikra is sitting in their, call it a cabin, but it's really more of a closet. It has one small porthole that looks out to the expanse of space, but aside from that, there's not much else in there. Dikra never lets anyone in here. It is covered corner to corner, floor to ceiling with blankets. It is padded with pillows. It is as much of a nest as Dikra could possibly turn it into. Dikra is hunched up in the corner with a blanket wrapped around their shoulders, kind of leaning back, fiddling with their tablet, and punching in a little key code so that they can leave their log for the day. Observation 6 of this journey. It has been far too long since I have had a proper conversation. I find myself growing bored. I think my brain might be atrophying, though I must admit that some of these people that I am cohabitating with are not as dull as they first presented themselves to be. Though I will say that the one called Zayla has a bit too much energy. An adequate scientist, intelligent, it seems, but far too exuberant for my taste. Rrok, Horace now, Horace. Horace is one that I find Horace's presence calming. Horace is quite good at their job. He does an excellent job of navigating us through very difficult situations, particularly the asteroid field that we encountered a few hours ago. Though I do wonder, perhaps if they were put off by my appearance. We haven't talked much, which is unfortunate. I feel perhaps we would get along well. Now, Mark. I do not know what Mark's problem is, but Mark is always twitching and moving. At least Zayla is useful. Mark is one twitch away from this ship exploding. I really do worry for our safety. We shall see how long we last, given the capabilities of this crew. I have served with better, but I have served with worse. I think we'll make it to the planet. Perhaps not in one piece, but I think we'll get there. This is the end of my log for the day. And Dikra punches their code and puts the tablet down and just kind of cocoons themselves.
Nice. Awesome. Who wants to go next?
I can. So, Zayla is in the ship's farm. There's a lot of like rations and stuff, but also to help with oxygenating, one of the rotating tubes has been given over to primarily hydroponics. And she's going through and just testing that the chemicals are all nice and like exactly where they should be, and the plants are all getting the proper nutrients for their types. And she takes out her little data pad and starts talking to it. She says, "Hey, Professor Falcor. So you asked me to keep sending you these updates on what's going on out here. I know you won't see them for a really long time, but I'm still going to send them to you anyway. So you'll be glad to know that the hydroponics facility is doing very well in 0.7G. I know that we were a little bit concerned about the rate of like osmosis once things start getting out to the leaves and how quickly the plants would grow. And they do seem to be taller and more fragile, but so far they're holding up. Let's see. About the crew. Okay, so there's 4 of us. I think you know that, actually. I think you've seen the dossiers. So there's Dikra, who is the medic. They are a little scary, to be honest. They're very intense, and they have all of these scars, which I'm a little nervous because they're our medic, and I would think that if they... I mean, they've chosen to keep them, so I'm just a little bit curious about like where they got them, why they've kept them. Yeah, we'll see how it goes with them as the journey goes on. They hopefully they're good at their jobs. Yeah. Horace is our navigator. I'm not sure that we're going to have a whole lot of like on-the-job interaction. He mostly seems to be confined to the cockpit a lot of the time. He seems very self-contained, I guess. He knows what he's doing. I don't really know that much about Horace yet. And then there's Mark, the engineer. Mark and I have a lot of interaction in our jobs because Mark, of course, is doing environmental systems feeding into hydroponics, and so on and so on. Again, he also seems pretty competent. He is really nervous, though, and always fiddling with something, so it can be really interesting when we get together, because sometimes we'll just like feed off of that a little bit. But I'm thinking of ways that I can help out with that. We'll see if we'll see what happens. Yeah, that's as far as everything goes with the crew, and I'll give you updates as we keep going. Bye.
Nice. Oh, I love it. All right. Oh, Horace.
Personal observation log. We've been on track so far. Had to navigate an asteroid belt, but other than that, no anomalies. Everything seems fine. Crewmates are all right. Dekra, the medic, seems interesting. She has scars. Seems a little disciplined, but we'll see. Zayla. Zayla's a joyful bunch. She seems good for the overall crew morale. So might be interesting to learn how to interact with folks from her. Mark. There's not much to say about Mark. He's a twitchy sort, but he hasn't managed to blow us up yet, so we should get there, provided he doesn't twitch at the wrong moment. Not much else to say. And he just kind of logs off.
Cool. All right. So then we now get into the rounds proper. So this mission is played out in 3 rounds. We decide what order we want to go in, and on basically on your turn each round, you get to play out a scene that may or may not reveal one of your hidden qualities. Each character gets 1 scene per round. And so in the first round, you'll test your minor hidden quality. In the second, you test your major hidden quality. In the third, you test your most hidden quality. So when you're doing a scene, you choose the activity that you're doing in the scene. It can be work, it can be repair and maintenance, it can be discovering something, or it can be recreation. Those are the main categories of stuff folks do on ship, as far as I'm aware. You choose at least one other crew member to have the scene with. You'll be performing your chosen activity together in that scene. The scene must test this round's hidden quality in some way, whether through circumstance, or through the other players asking leading questions, or simply via desire on your character's part to share their feelings. That can be a way through it. No matter how you choose to set things up, events in the scene should lead you to a point at which you must decide whether or not to reveal that quality to your fellow crew member. So you have to make a choice during the scene to do one of 3 things. You make the hidden quality visible to the crew, you adopt one of the other crew members' visible qualities, or you create a new quality to make visible there on the spot. You then bring the scene to an end as reasonably soon as you can once this decision has been made. Don't make the scene about something else or extend it to another location or end up focusing on a different character, that kind of thing. Then there are different things that happen depending on what you decide to do as a result of that. And we can get into that when we hit that in the first scene to sort of explain. Do we want to just keep going in the same order? Or is someone burning to have a okay. So I think I'll go ahead and I will start. So the hidden quality of mine we are testing is collects historical photos. And I think this can be as simple as someone is, for whatever reason, coming into my quarters. For some reason or another. And we can have any number of reasons for why we do that. First off, who'd like to be the one to do that? Because I don't have a particular read on it as of yet.
I would like to nominate Horus because I feel like all of our characters know the least about Horus, and now I kind of want to know more about Horus.
So we could say that Horus is for whatever reason coming into my quarters. Now we have to figure out why Horus is coming into my quarters. Or we could just play the scene and see what happens. But the reason I set it in my quarters is because that's where where I keep the photos. And obviously it's in an electronic medium. But I think this could be something as simple as, for whatever reason, and it's like either my door is open, like I'm getting ready to go somewhere and work on something. I think we could say it's that. So we haven't even really specified the activity. We need to specify the activity. So I guess this could be work. So that we're getting ready to go and do something with the navigator. And Horus has decided to just show up early so that we will walk to whatever part of the ship we need to together and discuss the thing we are about to do. Does that sound good?
Yeah. Want to suggest the idea maybe it's a case of Horus is coming to Mark to get their assistance with there's a problem with one of the navigation systems, like subsystems. So, it's like looking for assistance, trying to track down where it is.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Because it doesn't seem to be a data related thing. So it may be something that's related with sensors or, something like that, something that would be outside of the navigator's area of expertise. And that's why, he's coming to the engineer.
Okay. All right, cool. No, that works. That works. So, it's just basically, so I'll say that as you're heading up, you see that my door is kind of open. For whatever reason, but I'm in there. And
okay.
I'm hunched over looking at something.
And I think what would happen is Horus would kind of already be in the door frame, looking in, kind of just knock on the side of the door and hey, Mark, you ready?
Yeah. I just sort of set this thing down. I'm like, yep. Hopefully, yeah. What is it that you needed me for?
Well, the navigation systems seem to be a little off. The charts look correct and everything, so I'm thinking maybe it's a sensor thing.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That sounds. Yeah, that sounds close to what it probably. It could be a sensory thing. I think we might need to check the. I did want to run another diagnostic on the array anyway, so I think that probably sounds good. Let me just hang on. Let me put this crap away real quick. I'll be right up. And Mark sort of turns around, and you can kind of see that he's got some sort of tablet that is not his normal tablet that he's starting to sort of set up, put up in a cabinet, and before he does, he's like, are you into history at all?
Well, a little, yeah. I mean, it's pretty useful to know how stars and things have shifted over time. So, yeah, a little bit of history.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good point. I think I actually do have a few maps in here. Yeah, okay. And he actually brings it along. And as we start heading down the corridor, I think you see Mark just sort of is kind of he's got the he had like a stylus that he's now pocketed, and he's got a bunch of pockets basically on his jumpsuit. And he's got this tablet, and he has a secondary tablet. His main tablet like stowed away right now, but he's opening this tablet, and he's looking through, and you can see that there are a number of what look like pictures from earlier times, basically, from the home planet, and then from the previous generation on the ship. And he's sort of going through them. He's like, so yeah, I sometimes I take a look because I like to see, and a lot of them are pictures of machines, a lot of different pictures of devices, and then there are a number of. He gets finally to the stellar maps. He says, yeah, I just, and it sort of it's usually I kind of but actually, do you say anything, or do you just let him get to the point?
I think as Mark is flipping through the through the images and everything, Horace is just gonna kind of look over a bit and are those archival?
Yeah. I actually have been kind of it's sort of a kind of a hobby of mine. I like to look through some of the I try to get things from the archive that I think are going to be of significance and help. And I actually kind of like looking and seeing because I want to remember where we're from, and
we're from the ship.
Well, yeah, I know, yeah, but it's more than that, It's you gotta. I think if you have something at least as solid as a visual reference to help you remember, that it kind of also helps you realize sort of how far everything has come and gives you an idea, even a little bit, of where either you want to go or where you don't want to go in the future, And he flips around to the map, and he's got, I've got some maps for. Now, these are a little older, but it's what we've got for this. What I've got for this area. So this will at least I can sort of earmark to sort of see. But obviously there are a bunch of calculations from that you're better at that than I am, from where these were. But I think this might help us a little bit. I mean, does that make sense? I figure that should make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of those? The old maps?
So many. I really need to update my filing system on here. Yeah, I've got quite a few.
Yeah, I would be very interested in seeing some of those.
Yeah.
That might be a thing. Is if you've got a spare drive or something, I could maybe help organize some of those old maps.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. we'll get that together. That'd be awesome. I've got 93 million things to do every day. I think that'll probably be quite helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the scene, basically. I chose in that instance to reveal the quality to everyone. So if you chose to reveal the hidden quality, you move it over to your list of visible qualities, and everyone will now identify you with it for good or ill. So now everybody knows that I collect historical photos. And then we move on to the next player's scene, basically. And again, I could have chosen to try to cover that up, basically, and just put the thing away. And I could have instead tried to, my choices there was I could have decided to be more like Horace and tried to, demonstrate being more deliberate and assured. I could have tried to, feigned more excitement and tried to be more bubbly like Zayla. I could have attempted to cover it up by showing some form of emotional scarring or other scarring, I guess. So I could have done that if I wanted to adopt someone else's. Or I could have covered it up by making up something about myself, and it just sort of, I've got some routines I'm making here for the ship, and so I could have replaced it with, say, efficient or something like that. And so that could have been a choice as well. So now we move on to the next player, which is Alyx. And so you get to pick an activity and other crew members to be doing it with.
All right.
And this needs to be a scene that is designed to expose the fact that you were dishonorably discharged from the military.
Yes. And I think actually the one you just did was repair and maintenance, right? That was the last activity?
It turned out that it was repair and maintenance, yes. I just sort of chose work, but we sort of drifted into that, which is fine. They're more guidelines.
No, guidelines? What guidelines? I think I will go with work. But this is going to be kind of a strange work. It's something that I do that might expose my hidden quality. I like to patrol the ship that we're on. It's an old habit from being in the military. So I walk the perimeter of the ship and I check the airlocks. I do all of those things that would be standard on a military vessel that we probably really don't need to do on a ship with only 4 people on it. But it's just such a habit. I can't not do it. I wouldn't sleep if I didn't do this. So this is part of my work routine. And while I'm doing this, I would say maybe a scene with Zayla might make sense, since Zayla spends a lot of time in one place tending plants. Maybe you've noticed that I tend to do this at the same time twice a day, or a space day. And I do also, I walk the perimeter of your area as well. So I don't just poke my head in and make sure everything's okay. I come inside and I walk around. Because it's just such I'm assuming, larger space than normal, that I'm probably going to want to make sure that wherever the plants and everything are, wherever you're working to, research the effects of microgravity on plant growth, that everything is functioning as intended. How does that sound to you, Zayla?
Sounds good.
Cool. So, if you're hearing a dog bark, that is the sound of something outside my window. Space dog. It's Laika. Yes, I live in a very residential area. So Dekra is... We'll say that this is coming close to the end of the patrol, tries to leave your area for last, hoping that you're just not going to be there one time, but you've been there the past couple of times, and it's starting to just get a little weird. We've never really said anything to each other every time I do this, but this is probably the time where someone's going to be like, what's going on? So I'm going to walk into your lab. And yeah, Zayla, you see Dekra come in, kind of stop short, and then just, compose themselves very quickly and continue to walk along the perimeter as they've done the past few times.
And I think Zayla kind of does the same, like nervous dance of do I or don't I say something here. So, Dekra, is everything okay?
Zayla, yes, things are adequate.
How is the sick bay?
It is running at optimal efficiency. We have all of the supplies that we should need. Things are well given our restricted resources.
Cool.
How are your plants?
Oh my gosh, it's so cool. We are discovering all sorts of amazing things about like how plants grow with microgravity, and like because there isn't actual soil, it's just chemical solutions. The root formations are just incredible. You should come over here and see that. I have never seen plants grow this symmetrically. Come on, come here. Look.
Dekra kind of like, oh, okay, and quietly to themselves is kind of like, and very cautiously approaches you with their hands behind their back, trying not to look. They're taller than you and trying broad-shouldered, trying very hard not to look too much like they're looming over you.
So, this is Spinacia oleracea, otherwise known as spinach. You may notice we've been eating kind of a lot of it lately. And normally you would expect branching root patterns, but in this case, you see how it's formed almost like a perfect spherical ball because the outside of the container is in a spherical shape. Like, I haven't been doing anything to train them that way, but I'm wondering if the micro vibrations from the ship's thrusters are somehow translating and the plant is responding to those. And that's part of why they're growing in such a strange pattern.
And Dekra takes one hand and kind of puts it up, but doesn't touch the plant, but looks at it. This is incredible. I had no idea.
Right? It's so exciting. We don't see anything like, well, we didn't see anything like this on the big generation ship, but I wonder if that's because they were using like actual soil solutions and the distribution of minerals in soil solutions isn't nearly as regular as it is in, hydroponics.
It kind of tilts their head and looks down at you. They most likely never would have thought of something like this. To be honest, I am surprised that you are here. You are light years beyond what I have seen any of the scientists on the generation ship even attempt.
Really? I mean, hydroponics is a well-established method of growing food. It's
Hydroponics, yes, but what you've done here with the microgravity and the symmetry, you have optimized this in a way that they would find radical, perhaps unnatural. It's very good work.
Well, I didn't set about to optimize it's an experiment, right? To see how the plants react. I didn't make the plant like this. The plant made itself like this.
I apologize. I did not mean to make it sound as if you had done something wrong. I simply meant to say that I think you have done something very good here, and that your work perhaps would not be as appreciated by those who are happy with the status quo.
Okay. Has someone said something to you? Like, have there been transmissions? Like, I'm a little confused where this is coming from.
No, there have not been transmissions. No one has said anything or anything about you. This is not My apologies. This is not about you. It's not about you.
Zayla is going to continue doing testing on the different plants, but is also going to continue talking and is going to say, so it's not about me. Is it about the plants?
It is a...
Is it about you?
I have work to do. I need to.
You just said that medbay was doing fine and that everything was optimal and you were operating above efficiency. What work do you have to do? Come on, spill.
What I am doing now is very... It's important. I need to finish this. I'm sorry to have disturbed you.
Okay. Well, if you ever need something to do, I can always use a hand with statistical analysis if that's something you're interested in, or potentially monitoring the fluids, although I'd prefer if you came to me if you found anything that was outside the standard deviations, of course. But yeah, okay. Great. See you in medbay or here again for some reason.
You have been here every time I have come in here. Do you live in this room?
No, I don't live in this. I like to keep a regular schedule. I don't live in this. I have quarters. There's also a lot of plants in my quarters because they're soothing, but there's 4 of us and we only have about 5,500 square feet of area in which to grow food using chemical solutions. It takes a lot of work to make sure that things are not only optimized for the journey, but that we will have seeds that might be viable in a variety of conditions once we land on the planet, because I don't know if you've looked, but the rations that we have stored aboard, they're not going to last us very long if we're reliant on them, and especially not once we get down to the planet. We don't know where we're going to be landing, what the growing season is going to be like, if there are any microbes in the soil that might affect yields. Like, I know they're silly little plants, but we need the silly little plants to stay alive, and I want to make sure that we're going to have plenty of them.
Zayla, they are not silly little plants. I am here because they are not silly little plants. You are correct that they are critical to our survival when we land. I'm in here because I need to make sure that the ship is safe.
Wouldn't Horace or wouldn't one of the others be better? Like, Mark could tell you that. I mean, he's in charge of all the systems and stuff.
When he isn't busy twiddling his thumbs.
He does fiddle a lot.
And Horace needs to pay attention to what is outside the ship. And to be plain, they lack the training to make sure that we are secured.
Secured from something?
Anything. The universe is wide and vast, and none of you have any idea how dangerous it is out there.
I have very good idea of how dangerous it is out there. Thank you very much. I have studied the radiographic information. Do you know how much radiation a single quasar puts out? If it weren't for the shielding around us, we would have all had cancer like 2 minutes after taking off.
Do you know what it feels like to be in a ship beside that quasar? It is... You are alone in the vastness of it all, because...
How do you know?
Do you remember? You have only lived on the Generation ship. Yes, you took the classes there.
Mhm.
Do you remember what they taught in the primary schools about the Old War, the early generation, the conflict?
People were fighting and there weren't enough resources, and Earth had become really polluted,
Hmm.
and there was some sort of political union of nations that fell apart.
Enough, yes. And when there is a war, there are soldiers, and we fought. And no one really won. They'll say they told you someone won, but no one won. I I was in that war. And now I am a medic on this ship heading to a planet that may or may not be entirely habitable.
I have a lot of questions, and I don't really know where to start with them.
How about I would be honored to help you with your statistical analysis. And if you like, you may ask me more questions as I provide data to you. Would that be satisfactory?
That would be excellent. Oh, I have an idea. Just a sec. And Zayla is going to run off to a side room, and you're going to hear a little bit of like banging and clattering. And she's going to come back out with a hydroponics bulb that is self-contained, and growing from it is a baby lavender plant. And she's going to hand you the baby lavender plant and say, this should grow in your quarters. It's, well, the scientific name doesn't matter. It's English lavender as opposed to the French lavender. It has bigger flowers that are prettier. And it's said that like it was believed on Earth to have properties that were very calming once it flowered. Its scent was thought to have positive impact on like your brain and stuff.
Thank you, Zayla. Take the little plant. I did not leave my service with honor. You're being kind to me, but you need to know that. Do you want this back?
Lavender is very resilient as a plant. It's known for its ability to survive in wide climatological areas and in a variety of soil or hydroponic conditions. I think you will do an admirable job taking care of this plant.
Thank you, Zayla. I'm going to finish checking the room, and then if you have time, I would very much enjoy hearing more about your research with the many plants here.
I would like that, yeah.
I think that's the end of the scene.
I think that's it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was very cool. I love that. So yeah, you chose to reveal your quality of dishonorably discharged from the military. And I thought something that I thought was very interesting in there is I didn't know if you were going to talk about the dishonorable part of it, because if you hadn't, that means you could have just made up a quality like war hero or something like that and abandoned that other one, and we wouldn't have known any different. But it's very interesting there. Okay, so we're down. Let's see. We should probably take a break soon. Do we want to go ahead and go to break now, or do we want to go a little bit further first?
I wouldn't mind a quick bio break.
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and go to break. So we'll be back in like 5-10 minutes, and we shall continue our mission, and we shall see you shortly. We have returned. And when we were last doing this, we were about to go over to Zayla's turn, Ulfrigg's turn. And so you can set up a scene with Zayla and anyone else you like, designed to bring out the question of whether you're going to admit that you're... Here's the funny thing, is know-it-all is really a quality that perhaps is something other people will just intuit. So you've got a lot of... You've got a lot of leeway here. So you get to pretty much define here what this scene is, and who you have it with, and what activity is happening along with it. We could do this as... I have seen the suggestion in here to do it as like a birthday thing. So I like that idea. That would be a recreation activity, if you want to do that. But how do you want to set this up?
I want to say that you all receive little RSVPs on your hand computers that say save the date and crew dinner, with not a whole lot more details. But at the bottom is a cheeky little, I know you have the time to be there. So it's kind of clear that you're expected to attend. And so the day arrives and you come into the, what's it called on a ship? The galley, which is not very big, I'm going to say. It's pretty cramped, but it has been absolutely transformed, and is even more crowded, therefore, with lots of little flowering plants and their bulbs all around the area. There is a full meal set up, or the table itself is set up ready for a full meal, and scraps of fabric that maybe are set aside to be used for repairs or tents or something on planet have been folded to make placemats and stuff. And there's a big sign on one wall, probably hollow projected on there, that just says "Happy Birthday, Horace."
No, this will be very cool. Nice.
So you all come in, and Zayla has tried to be sneaky and find out what Horace's favorite meal is, or at least favorite meal on board ship.
Oh, okay. So, let's see. I'm gonna imagine, since there's probably not going to be a lot of variety in the food that would be available on a survey ship, so I guess it would probably be some kind of MRE equivalent to meatloaf, or something like that.
Does Horace like spicy food at all?
Yeah, mildly.
Okay.
Not jalapenos, chipotle, yes. Reaper, no. Not that brave.
So I'm gonna say there's the MRE meatloaf that has been set out on the table, and next to a plate with that's obviously for Horace. It's got a birthday little paper crown on it and stuff. Is a little vial of homemade hot sauce from some chilies in the botany lab. And all of you are invited in, and Zayla is like, "Happy birthday, Horace!" I hope you don't mind. It was in the records, and we've been out here for a while now, and I just thought we could all use a dinner together. So, come on in, everyone.
I'm just sort of coming in, I'm like, oh, wow. And I'm playing with an engine part as I come in. I'm just sort of looking, I'm like, I didn't know it was your birthday. You never said anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, it never came up,
It's listed in the
Before
personnel
now.
records.
Are you keeping a file on us now?
Well, I mean, we can all see each other's personnel files, right? I know all of your birthdays.
Really?
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. There are open things. That's wow. Okay. I guess I'm gonna have to watch out for myself.
No, I mean, I suppose that's useful for planning birthdays and things.
Yeah. I know it's a little weird because, like, we're not on Earth anymore, and so its orbit around the sun is kind of an arbitrary measurement of time, but, you know, we still follow it in the generation ship, and we only ever see each other when we're working, so happy birthday!
Thanks.
Happy birthday, man! He claps you on the shoulder, and then we'll go over to sit down. Still playing with the engine part.
Seems like
Happy
you
day of
went
birth.
to yes. Another cycle of alternating exposure to searing radiation in the cold void.
That sounds so cheerful when you say it like that. This looks really good. This looks really good, Zayla. This is awesome. I can't believe you set this up. This is great.
Thank you.
I mean, I like to think it's yeah. This is unexpected, but it's cool. Yeah. And
What comes after the meatloaf? I'm so excited.
So, do you know about other dates or things? Spend a lot of time in the personal records?
No, not lots of times. Just like, you know, looking over the basic stuff. I mean, everyone did their research before coming on board, right? You want to know who you're going to be living with for the rest of your life, however long that is.
I mean, it's a good point. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd like to think that it's not necessarily going to be the rest of our lives. I mean, you know, if we're successful and we find a planet, then you know, might get others to come along. So, I mean, I didn't really spend a lot of time peeking. I kind of figured that was all part of the ride. It was learning.
Yeah. Well, what are some things that you would like the rest of us to learn about you, Horace?
I mean, there's not really a lot to know about me, you know. I mean,
I bet that's not true.
how's that old show go? That old tune, you know, a horse is a horse.
Of course, of course.
Oh my god.
I don't. What?
It's an old thing from when they had flat screen entertainment instead of holovids.
Yeah. There's a thing. There's a whole thing. They had these media empires back in the day, where they would try to compete to show you the strangest and most interesting thing based on you know, well they were trying to so that they could then sell their products. But one of those things was a talking horse, apparently.
I see. And people found this entertaining, like these parties and sitting down to have communal meals. These were fun.
A lot of people did it. I don't know how much fun they had, but they yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they could be fun, you know.
Do Do you have like did you like look up these kinds of parties when you set this up?
I did, yeah. It's well, it's a little bit different from how we do things on the generation ship, but like I had to make some adjustments, of course. So like the birthday crown, which I notice you're not wearing yet. Yeah, that was more traditionally associated with like Christmas and Christmas crackers. And like I know no one celebrated Christmas in like forever. But like we didn't really have a birthday party hat material that I could use that would be sturdy enough that wasn't more valuable for another thing. So I just went with the crown thing.
You sure do seem to know a lot about a lot.
It's kind of fun to know things, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know it all, but
Well, no one knows it all. That's the point of like learning and discovering, is you get to figure out more of what you don't know yet, and then you get to know it all.
and who doesn't want to be a know-it-all?
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Well, I mean, if you know it all, and that's the purpose of life, then you would have reached the end of the purpose of life and the end of life. So
Yeah, but I don't think you're
if you
gonna.
don't know it all, then you will always have purpose and always a reason to live.
Yeah, but knowledge like exponentially grows, right? Like the more we learn, the more we discover that we don't learn. So it's this like never-ending thing. So you can potentially keep going your entire life trying to know it all because you'll never reach the end of it.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, why not?
Wow.
So
That's great.
Yes.
No, that's awesome. That's that's great.
Any of you ever had a birthday party before?
We used to have sort of like, when we were talking about like rotational celebration days, that type of day thing, we kind of had. I remember when I was a kid, we kind of had things sort of like that, but
Yeah?
I kind of fell out of it.
What were some of the things you did as kids?
Oh, geez. So we used to go and look at the, sort of, that they had that big, that big sort of clock calendar thing in the middle, and clock calendar in the middle of the, of sort of the forum back, back on the main ship. Mm-hmm. So we used to gather there at, midnight, right? Where it would clicked over to 2400 hours, right? Mm-hmm. Then that we kind of like, I know there was sort of this like there was like some kind of dance we did. I seem to remember.
Oh my gosh, you did a dance?
There was an uncertain amount of dancing, yeah.
That's incredible. They stopped doing that like probably about the time I was born. But like, are there holovids of it, like archival footage or anything? That would be awesome.
There might be, possibly.
Do you have archival footage of it on board?
There is a chance I might have some archival footage of it on board.
Oh, that's so exciting! We should watch some later.
I don't know, Horace. How are we on that info dump that I gave you a while back? You're muted.
The charts, yeah. I'm still organizing those.
There are a lot. I could probably see if I can dig something up. Just might take a little while.
Well, that would be exciting. We could learn, and then when it rolls over to the 2,400 hours equivalent on, we could do it on ship.
I guess that's entirely a thing that could possibly happen, yes.
No? Oh, Dipra, why not?
I
bet you're a good dancer.
don't. No, I do not do such things for recreation.
But you do them for not recreation?
I'm not answering that question.
So if I were
You
to
know
contact
enough.
if I were to contact your superior and they were to order you to dance, we could get you to dance.
This line of questioning is making me very uncomfortable. Why
Hey,
do
look,
you need
Meatloaf,
to
this
know
looks great.
everything?
Because knowing things is fun. So, knowing things makes you useful. Knowing things is objectively good, I guess. I don't know. I don't think I found out anything that I wasn't happy to know. Not yet, anyway.
You know, I just gotta say one thing. Hold on to that for as long as you can.
That's
That's-
ominous.
That's just hold on to that for as long as you can. I'm just saying it's a glorious thing. It's a glorious thing. Please, I will see if I can find that archive for you, because that's absolutely that's it's a beautiful thing.
Y'all want to see something else? Oh, go ahead, Dikra.
Please, Zayla, your enthusiasm betrays you. What is on your mind?
Well, if folks are mostly done with the dinner, I have a thing. Just a sec, I'll go get it ready. And she pops over to the other side of the very small kitchen and pulls out what is essentially a cupcake. And she goes, now I know we can't have open flame on board, and it is traditional apparently to have a candle on top of this. I don't know why you would put a candle on top of a cake, but apparently that was a thing that they did. And then there's a song that we sing that I looked up. So, and then you're supposed to blow out the candle, which doesn't exist, but we can all still sing the song if you want. Oh, muted again.
Why not?
Okay. So I put the cupcake down in front of Horace and just start singing, "Happy birthday to you." And I won't go further because I know it's not actually in public domain.
Actually, I think it is now technically.
I think they put it back in. I think it was like they got guilted into deleting.
But yeah, anyway, sings the whole happy birthday song. Probably wildly off key towards the end.
I think it's great because Mark is trying to follow along, and is like just a step behind you because he just doesn't know the song.
And Dika
Taking it further off
surprisingly
key.
does know the song, but mumbles
my
it very
God.
quietly. Dika kind of just leans over on the elbows on the table. You do know it all, don't you? But doesn't say this in a bad way, just sort of in a very factual, almost complimentary way.
You know, when you get an idea, it's worth doing some research to make sure that idea is well executed.
Well, I am impressed. I did not think we had the ingredients to make cake on this ship.
Well, there's a reason it's small, and there's a lot of substitutions. But when I found out it was going to be someone's birthday, I put aside a couple of the sugar beets, and I've used them to sweeten it as much as possible, basically. So that's why it's a little bit purple, but purple makes it festive. I hope it tastes good. The batter tasted good.
Horace, I think you're still muted.
Oh, I wasn't saying anything. I was laughing. I thought that.
I think we probably have come to the point already in the scene that we've figured out the things, so we can probably close out the scene if there's nothing else that anyone wants to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was awesome. So yes, you have made it known that you have your know-it-all quality is now, I think, known to everyone. You have not attempted to cover that up at all. Which is delightful. So we're over to Rrok, and you get to set up a scene for Horace that should bring to a point of whether Horace must decide whether or not to reveal that he wants to be more social.
Yeah. So. I think let's build off of this birthday party thing. I think maybe like a day after, or a cycle after, I guess would be more appropriate for the setting. I think Horace is just kind of walking around the ship, and he gets an idea. He goes ahead and pages everybody to the front of the ship, where the like the cockpit area is, which is normally kind of cramped because it's not really intended to have like everybody in there all at once. And he goes ahead and he has the kind of like the shields pulled back so that there's like windows that can be seen out, and he just kind of, as people kind of filter in, it's kind of like he waits for everybody to get in, and he goes probably sure you guys are kind of wondering why I asked you all to come up here. I just wanted to give you a moment to be able to take a look out and see what it is that I see every day, to be able to see all these stars and just have a moment to kind of relax and not worry about all the other normal system checks and stuff.
Zayla is hanging right back by the door of the cockpit and like has her back kind of pressed against, if there's any sort of wall space that doesn't have controls on it, is definitely pressed back against that.
So I mark those charts that that you provided. Yeah. So if you take a look, you can see that the one chart that you brought up, if you take a look over there, you can see how much things have shifted. I think he'll reach over to a console. Horace will reach over to a console and kind of like pull up a holographic image showing the chart that you had previously found. Mm-hmm. And he goes, look how much difference only a few hundred years have made.
That's a heck of a drift. Huh. And so you think this is going to help us get... So we're like right about here now, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know, you don't have to worry about it. Just, I mean, just look at how many stars there are. You know, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of out there.
Yep. And I sort of look at the thing. I look out the window. Yep, still there. Yep. No, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, that's.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Lest we find ourselves in a vacuum of nothing.
Actually, if we weren't to see stars, that would probably be a sign that we are in the middle of something, because it would be potentially blocking the visible radiation from those stars. So it would probably indicate like stellar dust or something. Interspatial dust or interstellar dust, more likely. Yeah, because it's only stellar if it's inside a space station or inside a solar system, and we are definitely not at this point in a solar system.
Yeah. I mean, I hear there used to be that the stars all used to be actually kind of a lot closer together anyway. But
I think Horace is going to reach over and he's going to hit a button to close the shields over the windows, and then project the charts up so that you can kind of see them as like a holographic image.
Zayla visibly relaxes, but does not move away from the wall.
And he just goes, Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Tell me what Horace is going to do.
Oh, he was just gonna, Horace is just gonna like point to the holographic field, and he's just gonna have it kind of like rotate, and he goes, just look at all of this. I mean, it's filled with stars and planets and who knows, potential destinations. It's magnificent.
I mean, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, there's really... I guess I don't really usually take time to think about all that, because there's a lot there to think about, and it's really that there's... I guess I got a lot of focused on our one destination, so it's hard to know. But I guess that's cool. So just so we're clear here, you just basically you called us in to have a kind of a moment of stellar reflection. I guess that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah. I mean, you know, not thinking about checklists or, you know, just hang out and you know, talk. You know, like we did at the dinner a couple of, you know, the other day. Cycle, whatever. You know, just some downtime.
Like actual social interaction, as though human.
Yeah, as though human.
So you called us up here to dispense information that could have been messaged to us on our data pads so that we might talk.
Yeah. You know, I just figured we could, you know, take a break.
It's inefficient, but the thought was very nice. Thank you, Horace.
I have found that perhaps recreation is important from time to time to help one reset and recalibrate. So, yes, the thought is appreciated and not unwelcome.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, maybe that's enough for now.
Yep.
Maybe we'll try again later, like down in the micro farm.
That would be cool. I can show you all. We've done some interesting things with variable gravity and how that impacts seed development. Well, I've done with the help of the ship. Like,
Cool.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, I've got a bunch of vids if anyone wants to like hang out and look at them, you know.
ooh.
Yeah. There. Yeah. See, there we go. Why not do a thing in the farm? We could have a movie night.
That'd be cool.
I would like that. Yep.
I suppose I could find the time.
I mean, there's only 4 of us. There's only so many medical charts you can check.
That's fair.
That is a gross underestimate of what I do on this ship, but
And actually, Dikra and I have been working on potential medicinal applications of some of the herbs in the hydroponics lab in case that becomes necessary for additional care down on the planet.
Okay. Yeah. So we could have a plant night, or a medicine night.
Yeah.
perhaps a night where we talk about the various things that we have been working on. You are not wrong that it has been some time since we have been social and perhaps shared knowledge beyond our reports on our data pads.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That sounds good. We should do that.
Yep.
Works for me.
Yep. Me too.
Yeah, and I think that'll be the end of the scene there. It's just kind of like, since everybody's agreeing that hey, we can do a thing. So
Nice.
In my head, it's
I think we all
totally
figured
like
out.
weekly Pechakucha nights on ship.
Did we all figure out that Horace wants to be more social?
I think we did. Horace did not attempt to make an excuse as to why this was happening, why this was not the case. So, usually, as written, the way that the thing that we're supposed to do next, as we've come to the end of a round, is that at the end of each round we have a thing. At the end of the first and second round, we do another mission report, and we answer each of the questions about the crewmates. Once again, what do you like about working with this crewmate? If there was one thing you could change about this crewmate, what would it be? This is a thing I am considering ditching, but as far as the the in between, but we can continue with it here and see how it goes. So if I'll go ahead and just keep the order going, and so be like, hey, Mark Guillaume, mission report. He's there. He's actually down in engineering for once. He's going through and he's making a recording. Doing our assessments as requested. Our regular assessments. So the thing that I like about working with our various crew members. So the thing that I think I like working with Horace, because Horace seems to be interested in taking the whatever we provide him with and putting it to good use. Also, trying to be more social, which is nice. I think we kind of need that. It's gonna be a while, and we gotta do something to break the tension every now and then. I think that as far as how he is, I'd he kind of will occasionally have these things where he's kind of, I think, nervous about sharing certain things. He kind of gets a little bit, and I mean, I'm sure we all would be at a certain point, but he kind of, I'd like to see him loosen up a little bit more, if we could possibly have that, if that would happen, in an ideal world. Zayla is an absolute delight, I think, to work with, because she does know so much about her subject and makes my job actually very easy when it comes to the places where we intersect, and so it's very good to have her around. I think if there was anything I would change, she is at most times at around a 9. I feel like she could dial that down to about a 6 and we'd be okay sometimes. But honestly, I mean, that's a minor quibble, really. We could, that is something I will very happily endure. Because, good to have a reminder that one is still alive. Always helpful. Always helpful. So, Dekra. I mean, I like that Dekra is efficient, and we had there was a point where I kind of had to grab a heating coil. There was no time, and so they were very efficient in getting me patched up there. That was good. So I mean, I never have to worry about whether or not we're going to have our medical officer at attention. And I think, unfortunately, that's the thing also I would kind of change if I had the chance, because they are always at attention. I kind of feel as though there's, like, always a pair of eyes on me. And it's sometimes a little unnerving. I guess they're still kind of coming out of what they were in, whatever they were in. I'm actually a little concerned about what they might have been in, but let's not worry about that right now too much. But hopefully as things progress and they understand, as I'm sure they do, that we're all living this together, that they'll be able to loosen up just a bit. So that's what I got for my assessment. I hope you use that, you're able to make use of that for whatever it is you need to make use of that for, if you ever, see us again. Click. And that's my assessment. So it now goes over to Alyx.
Observation log 10, Medical Officer Dekra. The crew continues to act according to their roles and their functions. Mark, despite constant fiddling, has proven a capable engineer, albeit an easily distracted one. Nearly burned themselves one time, but still managed to fix the problem. I do wish that he would pay just a little more attention to his surroundings. Just be slightly more observant from time to time. Horace is surprising. Capable and intelligent, but seems to constantly question their capabilities and intelligence, perhaps. It is strange to see one of such capabilities act in such a manner. I wonder, It would be better if perhaps they were, a little more self-assured. It would just make our jobs easier. Constantly having to reassure him that he is doing a good job is tiring, to say the least. Zayla is not unpleasant. End observation log.
Interesting. Nice, nice.
Amazing.
Okay, so it's over to Zayla.
Hey, Professor Falcor. So updates. I've attached some of the sample data that you've seen in terms of growing plants at different gravity levels, including hypergravity, which has some interesting implications in terms of seed development. I'm worried about the nutritional profile of those plants if they do successfully germinate, and how resilient those seeds are going to be at variable gravities compared to ones from more Earth-like gravities. Yeah. Anyway, that data is attached. So about the crew, they're pretty cool. Mark is really nice to work with. I feel like I wind up doing a lot of tinkering around the edges of the hydroponic systems in terms of, making sure that the optimal levels can be found depending on various activities on ship. And he's been really helpful in terms of if I find something that works that increases either O2 output or nutritional profile for the crew, making sure that those minerals are available and stuff. And it's just been really nice. And like, he's all fiddly and stuff, but he also has these like great archival photos. And I think that he's more interested in like the political social side of it. But some of them have pictures of these things that they used to have on Earth called victory gardens. And you can actually see the predecessors of plants that we eat every day. Did you know that spinach's leaves didn't used to be pointy? Did you know that? Anyway, so working with Mark is great. Let's see, there's also Dikla. Dikra is also great to work with. They are so precise, and it's such a relief because I've been able to give them some of the work, like analyzing data from the various cycles that we've been doing on the plants here, and their measurements are always just like so accurate. And it's just like, it's so nice that when I double check, I've never caught a mistake, and I just think that's absolutely fantastic. And like, I know I said that they were a little scary, but I think it's more that they're just like really, really, really shy. But they're really good to work with. And we've been doing some experiments in terms of looking at archival footage of some of the medicinal properties of the herbs that we have on board and trying to prepare them in case we need additional medicines when we reach the planet. I haven't attached that data. I'll send it along next time. Okay, so who's left? Horace. Yeah. Horace is a really good navigator, and okay. We're at the point in the voyage. I know this isn't professional, and I know I'm not supposed to like talk about this sort of thing in official reports, Professor, but we're at the point in the voyage where I'm going to need additional survey data in order to get more detailed atmospheric readings and like get more information on potential temperature zones in various areas of the planet. I don't want to have to ask Howard for that, or Horace for that. They try really hard to be friendly and stuff. I can tell they're trying. I just don't know if he knows what he's doing, and that I'm a little bit worried about that, and the impacts that might have on our mission later. Yeah, I guess if you have any advice, I could use a little bit of advice in this area because I am pretty dependent on that data, but if the data is suspect, then that might have implications for our mission later on. And like, if you have any advice as far as like variations to look for or anything like that. Yeah. I threw a birthday party for Horace though, and he liked it, and it was really sweet. And I made a cupcake with sugar beets, and I will attach that recipe. Actually, it was okay. Okay. Yeah. Bye, Professor.
Oh, that's so precious. Okay, for Horace.
Personal observation log. Dekra continues to be efficient in keeping track of our health, making sure that everybody is doing well. I've started to take notice of them wandering the ship, almost patrolling the ship. It seems a bit systematic. Maybe it's just their nature from being, the medic. I don't know. But they're really, really good at it. Zayla is really, really good at being outgoing, and I know I'm trying to get the social thing going, but still needs to observe. And they definitely seem to be the right one to watch. They're very outgoing. Everybody seems to like them, so they're the one I need to learn from. Mark has so much on these charts. I don't know where they got them from, but they are. There's a bunch of these charts, and there's hours and hours of historical information here. Being able to see how much these stars have shifted. I think some of our navigational systems may be a bit off compared to the information that has been gathered here. So there's definitely a lot of research left to do. And Mark, I don't think Mark necessarily knows how much that they are going to be able to contribute to us being able to find a destination. So that's it for now. We'll see how the rest of the journey goes.
Okay, cool. So, we're running so low on time. Do we want to try to get into a second round? Or do we want to just sort of draw it to a close at this point? Because sadly we're getting close to time here. I'd be good with it either way. What do you folks think?
I'd love to keep playing, but that feels like a very good ending point for a stream in terms of being a satisfying structure.
Yeah, I agree.
But if the crew wanted to get together another time to finish, I would not be opposed to that. This is quite a delightful little game.
I would not be opposed to that either. We should probably talk about that a little bit offline and see if we can do that, because I'd like to, at some point soon, I'd like to see how the rest of it might go, because I can see the way that this is structured is like the next round is when you start getting into it, basically, with some things, because it's the stuff you want to keep more hidden.
Rrok, were you about to say something?
No, I mean, the only thing I could think of, it was more of a feedback aspect, and that's, I guess, something that can be done offline. So
yeah, well, I think now we'll go ahead then, and since we will, since we're going to go ahead and we'll bookmark it here. And we will see if at some point we might leap back in and do more of this, because I'd be delighted to see it come to fruition at some point. I didn't schedule enough time, damn it. But hopefully at some point soon.
Well, you got talkers and storytellers. Like, we
That's
are
true.
only 4 players, and like clearly we want to talk. So
That is fair. That is very fair. What we'll go ahead and do is, if anyone has any feedback they want to give, we can do that actually somewhat as part of our outros here. First of all, thank you all very much for watching. If anyone wants to pick up the right now we're on document 1.2. If anyone wants to pick up document 1.1, that is available for free at the link that I just put in the chat. That is Hidden Qualities. I am going to this is a work in progress somewhat. I'm gonna try to do things in the future to make it prettier and what have you, but we're gonna, it's we got it. Updates are coming. Hopefully, with this seems to be working out thus far. And I think I got to reverse what I said a little bit ago. I don't think I can ditch the mission reports because of just how nicely they help to form and get sort of our heads in the place of like, okay, this is where we are now. So I feel like that. But that said, let us go ahead and go around and. Feel free to plug anything you like, but then give any final impressions you want to give about this game, about this session, and we will start with Ulfrigg.
Hello, I go by Ulfrigg online. I'm not really on social media, but you can find me on Twitch pretty frequently. Tuesday and Thursday, I'm over on New to the Party at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday, I run a game called Bubble Quest, which is going for about 2 more sessions. If you want girly D&D times where we will probably never roll initiative, that is your game. Thursdays, I am part of a Star Wars game called Hyperdrive: The First Ember, which is very different. And so far, we have set the Empire on lava multiple times. Saturdays, I'm over on Story Girls channel playing in Star Trek Adventures.
Very cool, very cool. Thank you very much for playing. Did you have any? Oh, hey. Thank you for the bits. Thank you very much for the bits. Much appreciated. Did you have any final thoughts you wanted to give on stream about the session?
I really enjoyed it. Anything deeper, I kind of have a 24 to 48 hour delay on thinking through mechanics and whatnot.
Sure.
So I'll definitely make sure to message if anything comes to mind.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I have utterly I now realize that I'm just picking at people at random. So let's continue to do that and go over to Rrok. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, thanks, Jim, for having me back on the channel. It's always a great time coming on here. I always know that I'm going to have a good time and end up playing with a bunch of great players. This was great. Really enjoyed playing with everyone. The only thing that I've got really going through my mind right now, I mean, I think this is really good what you've got going here as far as the rules are concerned. I do think that this, with the way that you have it divided up, as far as the rounds are concerned, definitely would be good for extended play of being able to do, like a session where you go through one round and then go through a session for the next round kind of thing. So I definitely think that this is a thing that you can, get a number of rounds out of. And not necessarily have to worry about trying to get through all of the rounds in one game. And I think having that little kind of personal log kind of thing at the end of each round helps to put that kind of separation. I mean, like we all agreed, it was a really nice stopping point for this session.
Yeah, actually that is a fair thought. Very cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate your coming on and trying this out with us. It's very very good to have you on. And now let us head over to Alyx.
Hey, Alyx Wolf. I am also Alyx Wolf on Twitter, ALYXWULF. 1F. There's someone on there with 2 Fs. That is not me. Tonight I will be partaking in the Invisible Sun Vizsla Happy Hour that a friend of mine has set up. So if folks would like to join that, I would be more than happy. It's a private Zoom link that I host. Everyone is welcome. We just only send out the invite to folks we know, or at least are recommended by people, to avoid the Zoom crashers. Jim, as always, I absolutely love playing games on your channel. You have created such a beautiful, safe space for everyone. I always feel like I can bring my most authentic self here, so thank you for that, really. Everyone needs to be watching your channel, and they can learn a lot from you about how to build a great community of players and gamers. As far as the game goes, I do think, and Zayla posted this, I think, in our little Zoom chat. It does also remind me a bit of PvP, Powered by the Apocalypse, I think is what you meant by that, or Play by Post? Play by Post. Cool. I've done both. So, but yes, agreed. I think the one piece of feedback I would give is maybe in the beginning, build in a little more Q&A. Like, give sample questions so that we can ask each other questions as we're building our characters. Because I found that works really well with games like For the Queen or Dialect, where you're asking someone like, so tell me more about this, you know? And sometimes it just kind of helps move the character creation along so you can build a little bit more interpersonal relationships before you just jump into the game fold. But aside from that, I absolutely loved it. I'm actually super excited to play this game with people. I'm totally taking it back and going like, hey friends, we're doing this. So thank you. Awesome.
Yeah, no, thanks. No, I appreciate it. That's very cool. And that's a great idea, actually, because that could lead to a number of... You can actually set up a number of different scenarios just by throwing in different sample questions at the beginning. So that's a very interesting idea. I'm definitely going to look into that. Also thinking about setting up some like possibilities for direct Q&A during the scenes sometimes about when we're wanting to challenge specific things. But that's a thing I gotta let cook for a little while and figure out how I'd want to employ that. But that's very cool. Thank you all so much. If anyone out there would like to pick this game up right now, like I said, it's free. The previous iteration of it is free, in that link that I posted. So you may feel free to check that out and provide feedback, because I'm always looking for that before this game reaches its final form. But much appreciated. So as for me, who am I? I'm Jim. You can find me at OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I have links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, and some fiction and games I've been working on, along with links to game signups and applications to join our Discord. So tonight, provided I have been having a slight resurgence of some slight medical issues that I've had been coming up the last day or so. So I gotta see how I'm feeling over the next hour, but I think I'm okay. So probably in about an hour, we will be having our Dark Matter campaign, Ghosts of Saltmaw. This is Ghosts of Saltmarsh in Space, run by Alyssa. We just got a bunch of people off a planet, and now we're trying to figure things out, and it's been really cool. I've been enjoying it a lot. On Tuesday afternoons, we are trying to finish up our short campaign of Las Vegas, which is an interesting game. It's an interesting game scenario. We're in a hellish version of Las Vegas. We have a rotating dealer, or a GM, basically, that's the dealer in that, and it uses tarot cards for its resolution system. It's been pretty cool. The next dealer is going to be James. He's gonna be running us through part 3, and I am very keen to see how it comes out. So that'll be happening Tuesday afternoon. Then Tuesday evening, I'm going to be starting up with our session 0 of our short Monster of the Week campaign that's happening for April. We're gonna just we're already got folks picking out playbooks, and now we're gonna sort of figure out how they relate to each other and what's going on and what the threats are and all that. And that's gonna be happening on Tuesday night. On Wednesday nights, we have our regular Masks campaign run by Mole Thulu. We had our session 0, and then we had a couple of our characters, mine and Kat's character, actually were sort of had this romance thing going on, and we figured out where that's going to lead during that 6-month gap on a special one-shot of Starcrossed that we did on Friday. So feel free to go back and look at that if you want to catch up on that. But the next full episode of Monster of the Week is Wednesday night, and so that's I think going to be really fun as we get into Volume 2. And then of course Saturday evenings I run Invisible Sun here on this channel, a campaign called The Edge of Paradox. Hopefully we'll be able to get back to it Saturday night. And then back around to Sundays when we do one-shots. And so a week from today, the one-shot will be Futurity, a GM-less story game by Summer from Off the Table. We're going to be doing where we're all playing oracles, trying to see the future and prophesy what it will be about. And so very much looking forward to doing that. We have signups currently. They're still technically open for, I think, for Futurity. I believe. Yeah, I'm not actually casting that until probably like Tuesday. So that's so signups are still open for that. If folks want to check that out, I am going to shortly open signups for a one-shot of Weird Wars, which we'll be doing later this month. That is a Savage Worlds game. I think I'm going to be doing Weird War 2, probably. 1 or 2. It's one of those two, probably. They have basically a bunch of different wars that they cover, where they throw in the supernatural. And so that is probably going to be the one that I'm going to tackle for this one. And I'll get those signups open soon, hopefully. If anyone wants to sign up for something, you can go down below and click on RPG sign up, or go to gymyesthatgym.com and click on game sign up. As always, beginners are welcome. Let's see. So when we hit the end card, right now over on Wandering DM, they are continuing with CouchCon. This is happening over there right now. It looks like there is a panel on tone, time, and pace for GMs. So I'm going to go ahead and send a raid over there. So we're going to go over and say hi to them. Feel free to hang on if you are so inclined and say hi to them with us. That again will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all so very much for watching. Take care, and I will see you all of a sudden. Farewell.